Hello everyone. So in this video, we will see we'll look into the concept of cryptography and cryptanalysis. So we all know what is cryptography. So cryptography is nothing but the process of converting your ordinary text or plain text into unreadable text. But this crypt analysis. So this is the technique which is used to break encryption without actually getting the decryption key. So that is cryptanalysis. So cryptography can be split into two parts, or cryptology can be split into two parts, cryptography and cryptanalysis. So cryptography focuses on creating encryption protocols, while cryptanalysis, it analyzes the cryptographic algorithms to break them. So this is what we'll be looking into. First, let's see what is cryptography. So as I said, to understand cryptanalysis, first we need to familiarize ourselves with cryptography concept. So as I said, cryptography, the process of converting plain text into unreadable text. So basically, it rewrites the data in a form that only the sender and the receiver can decrypt it and read. So using cryptography, we can protect the data from theft or any kind of other motives. So there are mainly, let's look into the types of cryptographies. So you have majorly symmetric key cryptography, asymmetric key cryptography, and hash functions. See, while that's pretty much the laydown of cryptography, your modern cryptography goes a lot beyond simple conversion of plain text into unreadable text. So we need to make sure that these are the principles of cryptography. The first one is confidentiality. So this message cannot be read by anyone aside from the sender and the receiver. And we have to make sure that the information that is contained in the message, it shouldn't be altered. So that is governed by integrity. Then you have authentication. The sender and the receiver can confirm each other about their identity. So these are the principles of cryptography. Okay, now let's see the types of cryptography. So the first one, symmetric key cryptography. So symmetric key cryptography is one of the encryption protocol in which what happens is the sender and the receiver, they use a single shared key for both encryption and the decryption of message. So the major drawback of this symmetric key encryption is that since the two parties must exchange a key through some means or some secured means, if the key is compromised, the entire protocol is compromised, as the same key can be used for both encryption and decryption. So the second type of cryptography is asymmetric key cryptography. Yes, you have guessed it right. So this is more secure compared to symmetric key cryptography because each user possesses a pair of key in this protocol. So we call it as public key and private key. So as the name implies, the private key is kept secret, but the public key is distributed to other users. So asymmetric key cryptography, it is also known as public key cryptography. This is much more secure than symmetric key cryptography. Then you have hash functions. So hash functions in cryptography algorithms, what they do is they take an arbitrary length or they take an arbitrary length input and produce a fixed length output. So the values returned by the hash functions are called as hash values, hash codes, or simply hashes. So we all know hashing is one-way operation, means you cannot convert the hash or you cannot digest back into its original input. So hashing itself doesn't use any keys, but it is used with symmetric and asymmetric key cryptography to store temporary values. So MD5 hashing, SHA are the mostly used hashing functions. So you also have MD5, it is now depreciated, which is not used anymore. And you have secured hash algorithms, SHA, and whirlpool hashing. Those are some cryptography techniques. All right, so now So as I said, cryptography, there are two things. Cryptology contains cryptography, which is basically encryption, and it also contains cryptanalysis, breaking the encryption. So let's see an illustration of cryptanalysis. So to understand the operation of cryptanalysis, let's take an example. Let's say we want to perform cryptanalysis on the given ciphertext WST-NB-XTV. So we want to perform cryptanalysis on this sample ciphertext. So the first thing a cryptanalyst would look is frequency. He would look at the word frequency, frequency of words and frequency of letters. So first he'll look into the word frequency. So if you're given a phrase in which the words is one letter or it's only one letter long, it is reasonable to assume that the corresponding word is popular one letter word like I, A, likewise. So frequent two letter word has a good chance of being on, it, or as, or frequent three letter words could be the or the. And the second thing, the most common letters in English language are E, T, A, O, I, N. So, and the least common letters in English are X, Q, Z. So, if we have the ciphertext in which the letter X is the most frequent, we can reasonably assume that X stands for E. We may be wrong, but so this might be wrong. This might involve some trial and error, and this trial and error is called as cryptanalysis. And if we assume that W stands for the common word I, the following word has an excellent chance of being a verb. So by taking different substitution until you can decode the word sequence, you will eventually convert, or you will eventually go from this ciphertext to something called as something readable informations, for example, some product key. So once you have done that, you have performed cryptanalysis. So that is the basic illustration. So now let's see how we can weaponize cryptanalysis into an attack. So there are different ways to weaponize cryptanalysis into an attack. So the first technique is known plain text attack. So in this known plain text attack, the attacker, he has the access to the ciphertext. So whenever I say ciphertext, it's nothing but the encoded key. So the attacker will have the access to this ciphertext and its corresponding plain text. So that attacker can use this knowledge to attempt to guess the secret key or code box. So which just allows the attacker to decrypt the rest of the message. Then you have this chosen plain text attack. So in chosen plain text attack, the attacker sends a plain text to be encrypted and analyzes the returned ciphertext. So he just analyzes the returned ciphertext in an attempt to deduce what the private key used for the decryption. So this attack is feasible when you're using asymmetric key cryptography, because the public key that they use for encrypting message is almost name states. So like that, you have man in the middle attack. So while most of the times cryptanalysis attacks might be successful, man in the middle attack can compromise your encryption scheme. So in man in the middle attack, the attacker sits between you and the recipient, or you and the victim, and intercepts the message you send to the recipient. So in case of encrypted message being sent, you would first have to send your public key to your recipient by assuming that they don't have it yet. When you send your public key, the attacker could interpret it and substitute it with their key and forward the message with this alternate key to your recipient. So from then on, the attacker would be able to read all your encrypted communications between you and your recipient. So these are some general ways to protect ourselves from cryptanalytics. So there seems not much you can be done to defend against cryptanalytics attacks. So aside from that, we can make sure that we are using some secure encryption schemes or keeping your software updated. So these are some, you know, things which we can do. So you can update the algorithms. So use up-to-date encryption and hashing algorithms such as SHA-1 or MD5. MD5 is no longer used, or it's no longer secure, should not be used. So we should also use sufficiently long encryption keys. For example, RSA keys should be at least 2048 bits long for VPN handshakes. Remember to destroy keys. Use strong passwords and also try to test random number generators to generate your keys. Or you can use a simple intrusion detection system that will notify you in case of breach, but it won't prevent the breach. So in conclusion, what a crypt analysis is, in a nutshell, it's more a means to attack than attack in itself. So once the attacker has your secrets, it opens up a whole new world of possibility to exploit and attack. So make sure you do follow the above things. So that's all for this video. Thank you.